It's a TGIF. Thank goodness it's Friday. And it is Friday, which is my interview day. I know I've fallen off the wagon once or twice. Hope you enjoyed the last one with my sister on genealogy. We had a great chuckle, and I got lots of wonderful comments back about how it really covered off a lot about family and the importance of knowing our ancestors. But today, I was asking others a couple of weeks ago, I said, if you were interviewing me on an interview, what would you be asking? And I had asked this in the MindShift discussion group people. And I said, oh, that's deep. That's interesting. Maybe I should try it. And I didn't know how I could get another, like a wannabe me or my rubber chicken sitting in the screen beside me. I didn't figure that one out, but I am going to go into these questions and hopefully answer what you might be wondering about me. Because it's not about me, it's about how my brain works, how my thinking has gone. Doesn't make it right, wrong, or different, but sometimes it's really good to hear another person's way of thinking or their journey being shared. And it's not that your journey will be the same, but there'll be bits and pieces and nuggets that help you discover you. Because there's nothing so wonderful as finally giving up the imposter syndrome, finally quitting thinking how I'm not enough, finally knowing the awesomeness and the grace that we are here, we breathe, we are worthy, we don't have to earn anything, we are us. And from there, we can play and expand into a much richer life. That's why I have now started for the last few years calling myself, whoa, who are you, Sandra? What do you do? Well, besides the compassionate queen of straight talk, I am a curious adventurer. And I don't have to be an adventurer only with all the travel I do, but an adventurer when I go with Sai, my Ethiopian daughter, to a Toronto or anywhere there's stores and we see an unusual store, a global store, a halal store or whatever, or if I'm with my daughter, we're both curious. And in we go to the store. And even if it's a little grocery store, up and down the aisles I go looking at the food and the varieties. And I get curious. And then I come home with some things and try them at home and think, okay, I think I like that one better when it's served up to me. But that is my curiosity. That is my adventuring, always trying something new, always being, oh, what happens if I go there? When I get to bells, what's the sound of that bell? I did that on the cruise ship. There was a beautiful bell there, and it was just yearning to be heard. And some fellows were around the bell saying, you should ring that. And I said, I know, it's so beautiful. It really needs to be heard. Yeah, go ahead and ring it. So me, being me, bing, and it was a beautiful sound. Beautiful. It turned out to be the captain's bell on the cruise ship. And they were all laughing because I was gullible enough to, but I was so happy because I could hear this sound. Security comes up behind me and says, don't do that again, ma'am. Oh, the next morning on a great swamp of a ship where the water was sloshing in the swimming pool, we were in for breakfast. And the captain, we were early enough, the captain was walking around. And I said, why am I not allowed to ring the bell? Well, it's the captain's bell. But why? I mean, it's so beautiful. He says, you're welcome to ring it. But remember, when you ring it, you're buying drinks for everybody on the ship, including the staff. Oh, I won't do that again. That's totally off track here. So what were the questions that my group was going to ask me? Linda Clement asks, what is the most inspirational change you have seen in a client? The most inspirational change I have seen in a client. I can't resist. I would say it's me, because with my curiosity, always learning, always stretching, always going out further. So many retreats, so many discussion groups, and peeling away. I had 7 years of Al-Anon, which was amazing toolbox. I've never forgotten the lessons I've learned there, or the open meetings of AA, or the going to the Shaloms at what's it called, Five Oaks. Five Oaks is a retreat through the church. And I went to several of their different weekends on all different topics. And every time I peeled away more and more and more. It's not fast, but it's magical and it's so beautiful. So besides me, it would be when I'm working with somebody. And even if we're just doing 15 minutes, like I did recently with Olmeca, actually, she has a comment here. Even 15 minutes of intense work, digging down through those 7 levels of why is amazing. It's magical. When I start working down through with somebody and I see the expressions changing and I see the energy, I feel it, I see it in their face, that it's moving down through their throat and down into their heart to the feeling. That is amazing. It's transformative work. And I'm just so proud of people who have the courage to say, enough, I want a new way of being in this world. And I'm going to take that journey through to me. So many people like to say, oh no, it's just black. Oh no, it's just white. But to get from one mountaintop to the other, you have to go through that valley. And possibly that valley could be one of those rope bridges, but it's still going to be wobbly, and you're going to come through to the other side. That's what I do, and that's what gives me joy. So besides myself, anyone who I see actually takes that journey. Julie Mair, she had an interesting question. She's from Holland, I do believe. How can we trust when there is just so many sophisticated deception happenings? How can we trust when there is just so many sophisticated deceptions happening? As intuition versus fear is what I added after that question. In my own journey, when I was never good enough, I didn't know how to say thank you to a compliment because, of course, they don't know all the bad things I've done inside, how I'm not worthy. When I really forgot a word that I was going to sing in that song, and I could tear myself down, put the smile on my face, but I had trouble. I could say thank you, but I would do a thank you, but I forgot the words. A thank you, but I went off tune there. A thank you, but I butted myself for decades. I butted myself for decades. I don't do that anymore. And if I do happen to hear it, that's a trigger word for me. Oh, stop. Away with the butt. Stop butting ourselves in the butt. But I hear it now. That means, Julie, that there were many decades when I didn't trust others. I didn't trust myself to be okay with people who were untrustworthy. My father, when we were in grade school, elementary school, we always had, every year, the little autograph books. Every year. It was such a joy. We'd go to school with our brand new autograph book, and we'd collect autographs and signatures and little sayings from everybody. And I always brought it home to Dad and said, Dad, write in my autograph book. I used to get so annoyed because he would put the same thing in every year. But because he put the same thing in every year, and because I always knew what it was going to be, it was parked in here and became my wisdom. It was an old Indian proverb, Indian, Canadian, Indigenous Indian proverb, saying, love many, trust few, and always paddle your own canoe. I'm going to say that one more time. Love many, trust few, and always paddle your own canoe. So be responsible. Be responsible. Don't think God's going to save you from a storm just because God's going to save you. Use your arms and your legs and your wisdom. That God gave us that to keep working with. And when we're working with our wisdom and working with our arms and legs, we're going to pull ourselves through that storm and get to the other side. But I am responsible. Now, you might say, yeah, but I was just a child when I was molested. I was just a child when I was bullied. And that's true. But you're not a child today. And the work that we do gets you to release that, to deal with it, not to forget it, but to come to grips with it so that you're not living this adult life in that child world. So what's coming to me is that basically this business of trust, when there's so much deception, is really back to me. I now know that I can't even trust myself. How many times have I said, oh, I'm going on a diet and I'm going to lose 20 pounds and I'm not going to stop until I lose those 20 pounds. Oh, that lasted a week. Maybe a month. Didn't lose the 20 pounds. Once or twice I did lose the 20 pounds and then put it back on. I cannot trust myself for what comes out of my mouth to actually happen because I need to be in action and changing the habits and doing the work to move me to that, what I say I'm going to do. Trust. You can't even trust yourself. So why would you think it's okay to hold somebody else to judgment and said, you told me, and you didn't? Why lay that on them? That's where the trust few comes in. There's a few people that we know that if they say it's going to be done, it's going to be done. That has always been me. I had to really learn that if something comes up that I said I would do and I can't do it all of a sudden for whatever reason, to make those amends and get that corrected, do the rescheduling, say, I thought I could do it and I just can't do it. I'm so sorry. Can I help you find someone else? Can I help you with that to get it over? But I'm going to have to bow out. I've had to do that once in a while. And it's okay. What I had to learn was being responsible, that if I couldn't do it myself, to bring it to the front and deal with it as an adult, not run away and hide like a child. So love many. I love humanity. I can truly say that today I'm over my imposter syndrome. Kind of sad that it's happening in my 7th decade, isn't it? Although I've been getting over it in these last few years. So it might have been starting in the middle of my 6th decade. But it grows. Understand, nothing is fast and instant. It's not fast and instant. It's growth. How long does the oak tree take to burst out of the acorn? The tree is in there. The tree is in there. How long does the egg, once it's been hit with the sperm, take to become a baby outside the womb? It takes time. Nature takes time. We take time, and it's a beautiful thing. Could you imagine us just crashing and, oh, look at who I am. I'm the circus clown. I didn't get to be the circus clown just like overnight. Although I do like clowns, and I do like laughing. But we're in this world that says everything has to be so instant. We expect it to be instant. And we've forgotten to look at how long did it take me in gestation in my mother's belly? How long did it take me to be appropriate to leave home? 18 before we can vote? 18 years? 20, 25 when we're actually figuring out how to get married and have a house and a family, and 45 while we're thinking, how do I start a career for myself now that my life has been interrupted or down the family road for so long? Time. We have time, and we have growth, and each time has its own wonder. So how do we trust when there's so many misconceptions out there? we check in with ourselves. We check, is it true? Is it safe? Is it appropriate? Who's behind it? Who's saying it? And will I be okay if I decide to go there? I will still be standing if they are not trustworthy. If they do something terrible, will I still be standing? And for me today, that's how I make my decisions. So, Julie, if you're listening, that's my answer. How do we trust when there's so many terrible things happening outside us and we just jump in and believe everything? We don't just, we question, we look, we research, we explore, we get curious, and then resolve where we're at. And if we resolve and make the wrong choice, oh, that didn't work, that's about us. And it's about being strong enough to stand there and say, oh, that was an expensive lesson. Okay, take a little more time on the next decision that we're making and really understand what it is we're choosing. And then choose. And if it doesn't work, we have more education done. We're not going to die from it. Hopefully, we're not going to die from it. If you're going to die from it, maybe it wasn't safe. Maybe it wasn't appropriate. Maybe it wasn't well thought out with the risks. I hope that helps. That was Julie. Riny Ledgerwood asks, what would you do differently if you could turn back time? I guess if I could turn back time, I would hope that I wasn't so scared to reach outside my comfort zone. You know, that comfort zone when we're born, we know, and we don't want to push on it and push it out because daddy's going to give us a smack on the bum, or we're going to be told off, or we're going to have all these discipline things. Yeah, so we learn, just like the little baby elephant that's tied to a stake that it can't get out of the ground. When it becomes an adult, that same little stake that it could just flip its foot and pull it out still looks like a limit. And that's what we have to get past. So I wish I had learned that a little bit earlier. Somebody's at my door. And then Margaret Rose asked, are you satisfied with your life? Yes. What would you like to change in it? I want more of my coaching. What are you grateful for in your life? For the curiosity and the adventure and the growth. And just to sum it up, Olmeca says, nothing. My future is in my hands. With that, have a wonderful weekend. It's Coach Sandra, Compassionate Queen of Straight Talk. So happy to have been here with you. I would love some comments.